Welcome to the 𝗘𝘃𝗲𝗿 project. This time around, I will be going over my Fate Trickster. Here's going to be my power rank and my stats in this video. My crystal level 4 set is going to have attack speed and movement speed on all pieces of gear. My ring is going to be a crystal level 3 set with energy regeneration and no hidden effect, because the Fate Trickster drains energy like crazy, so I'll be using energy regeneration. Orkin is going to be my ally because of movement speed. Permanent torch equipped because I will be using this on every single class. Free range electrolytic crystal as my food because EC 300 light. Arcane trailblazing as my emblem, arcane because of damage, trailblazing because of movement speed, and conjures crystal bile as my flask because I do have high magic find. My subclass is going to be the personal song bar subclass because it's the best speed farming subclass in the game. My gem ability is going to consist of Pyrodis, class gem, explosive epilogue, and berserk battler. Pyrodis is going to be the best regular and power gem ability for both movement speed and damage, and it's very easy to proc. Class gem is because it really does help out with the Fate Trickster, especially with the passive ability. Explosive epilogue is actually quite nice because it does help out with one of the class problem being the burst damage, so I actually do have explosive epilogue equipped on this character. And lastly is going to be berserk battler, and that's mainly because I don't have any other Vampirian Vanquisher. Honestly, I would love to have more Vampirian Vanquisher, but yeah, this time around I will be just using berserk battler on this character. Now, I do have the old class gem ability just saved out on my personal chest, but I will not be using it in this video since I just have to remove Pyrodis because my Pyrodis is the water gem and my old class gem is also water gem. And honestly, the old class gem isn't particularly good for U11 because it doesn't do a lot of damage. And if you want to build speed, then just use the basic attack and glitter bomb, which I'll get more into that in a bit. This is going to be my Star Shard build. Made already a video about it if you want to know my reasoning into why I use all of this Star Shard build nodes, then I'll leave that in the description down below. And my costume combination is going to be the last thing that I'll be showcasing. My hat and my costume are going to be part of the rubber ducky costume, which is going to be from the House Carries Pool Party store pack from the Sunfest event. The weapon style is going to be the 𝗘𝘃𝗃𝗿𝘆 from the Chloromancer's 𝗘𝘃𝗃𝗃𝗃 costume, which is also from the Sunfest event, but this time around from the store pack House Carries Essentials. I've made video in regards to these two store packs. If you want to go ahead and check them out, then I'll leave that in the description down below as well. And yeah, that should cover everything that I have equipped on my Fate Trickster. Now, how does the Fate Trickster fare inside U11? And my answer is going to be that the character is underrated but not great. Definitely not the worst class in the game like I've been seeing a lot of players just talk about, especially for dungeons, but there's way too many classes in this game that can easily outpace this class for dungeons. For me, this class sits in the below average category for dungeon grinding, but it's definitely not the worst. And here's the reason why I have it as below average. Like the last episode that I covered on the Draco, this is another class that has really good benefits, but also has really big drawbacks. And this time it's going to be for different reasons. First, let's start talking about the basic attack. The basic attack is a lot better than a lot of people give it credit. It's by far one of the best momentum abilities in the entirety of the game in general. Like, I'm talking all abilities, not necessarily just basic attack. Despite this ability being single target, it is a 6.5 times damage multiplier basic attack if you do have the passive ability active, with a 30 block range, which is quite impressive including basic attack. But it is also among the slowest basic attack in the entirety of the game at a 1.25 base attacks per second. However, this is one of 3 basic attacks in the entirety of the game that doesn't lower your movement speed when you're shooting with your basic attack, the other 2 being Ice Age and Chloromancer. But yes, this means that you can just shoot down your basic attack without any penalty, which makes it really good for speed momentum considering that this is a high damage basic attack, making it very easy to one-shot regular enemies. And since it does have pretty good range, it means that you can, if you do miss, then you can easily just shoot the enemy while you're walking away, and you can easily just maintain that movement speed buff. It's really good, really simple to maintain movement speed buff with the Fate Trickster. Being a basic attack, it also means that it is a non-cooldown instant cast ability, so it's also really good for spamming all types of damage output with this ability, especially the basic attack, obviously, of course. So in general, it's just a good basic attack, but the only drawbacks is that it's single target, which is kind of a drawback but not really in some cases. But for momentum building, it's not really a drawback. For like stuff like Cursed Skull and bosses that actually spawn minions, then that can be a little bit of a drawback. And also the fact that it is quite slow as a basic attack, meaning that if you don't have a lot of attack speed, then this basic attack is just going to take like forever to actually just continuously dish out damage, especially if you don't one-shot. And the other thing is going to be that you have to take into account the passive ability. So for those who don't know what is the passive ability, what it does is when you normally do more damage if you don't take damage for 2 seconds. If you don't take any damage for 2 seconds, your basic attack will become stronger. But once you actually do take damage, your basic attack will become weaker. This can be just increase the amount of hits with the class gem ability. The class gem ability allows you to take 4 hits instead of 1. Then you lose the passive ability and your basic attack becomes weaker, which makes it do like 3 times damage if I recall correctly, instead of the regular 6.5. And 3 times damage on a really slow basic attack is really not that great considering that it's single target. Once you actually do have the passive ability active, then it's 6.5. And that's all because of the passive. That's why the class gem is very important. But yes, you have to take into account that if you want to consistently just do damage with the basic attack. So of course, it could be a little bit of a drawback, especially if you're in an area where there's a lot of enemy dealing you a lot of damage. So yeah, that's the basic attack. Secondly, it's going to be the blink. Blink is going to be an okay mobility tool. Before you actually just go crazy and just go like, oh, what the hell are you talking about? What do you mean? It's a teleport. And my counter argument is going to be the Neon Ninja Stasis Blade, as the Stasis Blade on the Neon Ninja has more range, is also a teleport, does damage, only costs 5 more energy, and it also has no cooldown. And not a lot of people are talking about Stasis Blade being a mobility tool. Yes, granted, the Neon Ninja has the Shadow Flip, but that doesn't change the fact that the blink is comparable to a Neon Ninja Stasis Blade, which is not considered the best mobility tool for the Neon Ninja. So you have to actually take that into account if you're doing a lot of comparison. Either way, this is one of the many reasons why, or one of the 2 reasons why the Fate Trickster needs energy regeneration, or have something to just continuously just keep regenerating energy. Because Blink is a 7 block range teleport that teleports you based on the direction that you're looking at, so similar to a dodge. The thing is that it costs 40 energy per cast and it has no cooldown. It doesn't give you any benefit after you do teleport. So it encourages you to actually just keep spamming the ability, which can be a bit of a drawback. Now, I've already stated that this is an okay mobility tool. Yes, instant teleport, no cooldown, but the amount of energy with the little amount of time that you actually do get benefit is not necessarily great. It's not like Spin to Win on 𝗘𝗃𝗿𝘆, which is similar to this one, but it allows you to spam because it gives you 50% movement speed during the whole animation, and the whole animation is much longer, and considering that the Spin to Win, if I do recall correctly, costs less energy than this one. So it gives you more benefit, it gives you more movement speed in general, does damage, and to top it all of it is an mobility ability tool that you can generally spam with less energy cost. This one is just, it feels outdated. If this was like 3 or 4 years ago, then this would have been a more impactful ability because there's a lot of other classes that don't have a lot of movement speed buff. Now every single class is just going to close the gap much easier with their movement speed buff, and they can clear out their distances even further because they have longer periods of time with that movement speed buff rather than just an instant teleport with the Fate that costs 40 energy. And the reason this might be a little bit of a problem with the Fate Trickster is because the Fate Trickster has no movement speed buff. This is the only mobility tool that the character has, so it can just be a little bit of a drawback. It's still pretty decent if you know when to use it and if you don't over spam it, but it is not really as great as some people make it out to be. It feels a little bit outdated at this very moment. Next up is going to be the Glitter Bomb. Glitter Bomb, a no cooldown bomb that can stun enemy with great crowd control and pretty good damage. So 6.75 times damage, 3.5 block radius, no cooldown, fast animation. The only problem is that this is going to be a problem that follows the class again. Energy. This ability doesn't cost a lot of energy, it's only 30 energy because it's on the low end for abilities, but the problem is similar to Blink. In order for you to have this ability be effective, you need to keep spamming this ability, and if you do have Blink to spam 40 energy, and then you have Glitter Bomb to have also spamming with 30 energy cost with each and every single one, you can actually just see where the problem comes into play. Also with the Fate Trickster is that it doesn't have the best burst damage out there. The basic attack is slow. Glitter Bomb doesn't do really great in just spamming the ability constantly, mainly because of the energy cost, especially if you're spamming Blink. and secondly is obviously because there's a delay in between all of the bombs. So the glitter bomb is not really that great for burst damage capability, similar to something like the Spirit Squire for the Knight, where it does really high damage, but it's not really that good for burst damage capability, so you really rely on one-shotting. This one is also the same. You have to rely on just essentially 1 or 2 shotting with this ability to make it effective. That's why it's really good for Cursed Skull, but against bosses, it's a little bit of a problem. If a boss spawns minion, then the basic attack is going to have problem with the boss because of the auto aim mechanics of this game, that it will just target the closest enemy that is near your reticle. And then you have an ability like the Glitter Bomb that it can just help out with all of that, but it's really not that great. It's the same problem that something like the Shadow Hunter has, but the thing is with the Shadow Hunter, A, Shadow Hunter has a much better movement speed buff, B, the basic attack is way faster, so it can just dish out better DPS, so it's better at kill time, and C, the only thing that the Fate Trickster has an advantage over the Shadow Hunter is going to be the AoE with Glitter Bomb, but Shadow Hunter has Shadow Seeker that can just help out with burst damage. It has the ultimate ability, even though, yes, it's an ultimate ability, Fate Trickster also has an ult. The Shadow Hunter also, you can easily just throw down an ult to dish out some extra burst damage. It doesn't rely on ultimate ability to dish out burst, it just has the ultimate ability at extra source. So that's the problem with the characters in terms of its burst damage capabilities, that it really doesn't have a lot of things going for. It's just the same thing as the Shadow Hunter, but it has a much slower basic attack. And the Glitter Bomb, while being really good in Cursed Skull, it really has the problem with energy, and considering that the energy, you use it for your mobility, and in the case of the Shadow Hunter, you don't use energy for your mobility, you just use your dodge. Then granted, yes, I am comparing it to the Shadow Hunter, and I've been mentioning this lately, especially in the last couple of videos. If you want to properly speed farm dungeons, you want to kill bosses in less than a second, and Fate Trickster, with the lack of burst damage, it doesn't do that very often. It has problems, and it does have all of the problem with the energy. And yes, before you actually just go, why don't you use 𝗘𝘃𝗀𝘆 Emblem? 𝗘𝘃𝗀𝘆 Emblem is an emblem that is not available very often, by the way. It's an ability that you don't have, like, not every single player has. It's not like a store emblem like Arcane and Martial that you can actually just get it in Trailblazing, like all of those emblems that are really good because you can get them very early on. In the case of the 𝗘𝘃𝗀𝘆 Emblem, especially right now, you had to rely on waiting for Luxon to actually just get 𝗘𝘃𝗀𝘆 Emblem. And once you actually do get it, then you sacrifice either movement speed with Trailblazing Emblem, which again is a problem with Fate Trickster because it doesn't have a movement speed buff, so you are going to be falling even further behind. And Arcane Emblem, you don't want to miss out because the character lacks in burst. It's just in this weird position of like, does have this good, really good thing, like basic attack that doesn't lower your movement speed, 6.5, 30 block range, but it's single target, slow, but at least you can use Glitter Bomb to remedy that crowd control problems, but it costs 30 energy, which is not that great considering that the energy is very important for your mobility, being blink. And yes, I also know that there's going to be the animation canceling. You can actually just use the ultimate ability and just cancel out the animation on the ultimate ability with a Glitter Bomb. That's the thing with the Fate Trickster, saying with the Glitter Bomb into a basic attack, so you can actually just help out with burst. The thing is, it's like, it doesn't change all of the same problems that the Fate Trickster has. You can just throw a Glitter Bomb into a basic attack, but what if you are throwing the Glitter Bomb into a basic attack on a Cursed Skull? Doesn't necessarily going to make it really good, so doesn't make it that effective. What about a Glitter Bomb into a basic attack on a boss? Well, yes, it can just be really good and just dishing out the damage against bosses, but at that point just jump on top of the enemy and just shoot the basic attack twice. It's faster and it does similar damage, and you don't have to use energy in order for you to maintain that, all of that. And again, with the ultimate ability, then you have to essentially just activate your ultimate ability, which is, even though it lasts for 15 seconds, it's a single target minion that summons 3 staves that target at random, and they don't move at all unless you have the hidden effect, which I don't remember the name of the hidden effect. The potential on the ultimate ability burst damage is really good because 3.5 times per staff, making it 10.5 times damage in total, which is really good for burst. But of course, it's a 40-second cooldown ultimate ability on an ultimate ability that you only essentially throw it against one boss. Now you might be thinking that I'm just hating on the Fate Trickster, which is far from the truth. However, when it comes to just doing stuff like this, I need to give my honest opinion on the character based on my own personal preference. I forgot to mention this towards the beginning. It's just personal opinion at this point. But this is the problems that I feel on the characters, and where do I feel that the problem lies on the character in terms of speed farming. You can still use it for speed farming. You been saying it throughout the whole video, just me just using the character just fine. But always keep in mind about those issues if you're using this class. If you know to maintain good energy management, then this class can be quite good. It's still going to be below average certain characters that have boom speed buff, they're generally just doing better bursts, yada yada yada, but doesn't mean that the character is just bad. It has the tool for really good build-up speed with the basic attack, and it does have really good stuff for clearing out dungeons consistently with 𝗘𝘃𝗿𝘆 and ult. But one of the biggest drawbacks is like it does have a really good benefit, but also a drawback alongside that benefit. And yeah, that's going to be everything for the fake Trickster. Thank you for watching, thank you for sticking around. As always, make sure to leave a like, sub for more content like this. As always, this is going to be my own personal opinion on the character and how do I feel on the character in general in terms of U11. If you like the character because of the playstyle, use it. You're still going to be more effective. This game is all about stats more than the character in general. Either way, make sure to leave a like, sub for more content like this. And one more thing is going to be, if you want me to cover another character that I haven't done or a character that I have done in the past and you want me to recover again, just let me know in the comment section down below. But with all that being said, once again, thank you for watching and I hope to see you next time. Take care and keep on hunting. This has been the 𝗘𝘃𝗲𝗿𝘆 video on the fake Trickster.